Hi, it's good to be with you today, even though it's virtually. Thank you, Sharon, for the invitation to share a few thoughts this morning or this evening, whenever you're watching this. The fact that I'm speaking to you from Canada, that I'm staring into a tiny dot on my phone, that I have my laptop in front of me mounted on two boxes of kitty litter, and that I have this ridiculous ring light surrounding me that I had to invest in when COVID hit. All of this is evidence that life is not normal these days. In so many ways, it is just not normal. And I've got to tell you that when this all first hit in February or March, was it? Initially, I didn't feel overwhelmed by it. I am a raging introvert. And at that time, I thought, well, you know what? This is what I was built for. Isolation, fine. Going out once a week to get the essentials, fine. Doing a lot of my work while still in my pajamas and not having to leave the house, absolutely fine with it. And then May rolled around, and then June rolled around, and I found myself feeling not so much deprived as reduced. I don't know if anybody of you can identify with that. Reduced in terms of being annoyed with virtual encounters with friends rather than face-to-face encounters. With my stomping grounds, the places that were life-giving and joy-giving to me felt either dangerous or were closed altogether. I couldn't access them anymore. And then reduced because I wasn't able to do those things that I know I do well anymore. My ministry has a lot to do with speaking and engaging with people in face-to-face, one-on-one ways and in groups. And all of a sudden, my ministry was reduced to my 13-inch screen staring back at me for way too many hours a day. So in mid-July, I escaped to Canada. My dad was Canadian. I have a Canadian passport. So I was able to cross the very closed border in quarantine. And when I came out of quarantine after 14 days of daily phone calls from the government to make sure I was being a good little girl, I came out into air that felt fresher and a world that felt freer. But after a few weeks, I found myself back to feeling a sense of disquiet, what my dad would have called discombobulated, a sense that life was off kilter, was not what it was supposed to be. It actually reminds me, what I'm feeling now, reminds me of what I felt the two times in the past when I've dealt with some pretty serious medical issues with cancer. I had cancer in 2008 and in 2017. And at that time, there was this same sense of being off kilter or reduced and somewhat fearful of what the future would hold. So as I thought about what I wanted to share this morning, the song that was really meaningful to me in both of those instances of kind of physical challenge came back to my mind. It's an old hymn called Be Still My Soul. And some of you who are old enough to remember it might. Be still my soul, the Lord is on thy side. Does that ring a bell? I'm not going to sing it for you right now. I will play a reduced version for you at the end of this little chat today. But it is a song that has anchored deep in some of the most restless seasons of my life, in part because it so closely parallels my favorite promises in the Bible. So I thought I would use that song this morning, kind of to organize my thoughts, walk you through the lines that are so meaningful to me and the verses in the Bible that reflect what those lines say as well, in the hope that these are the words that you need to hear because they're the words that I need to hear. So let's look at the first line of the song. It is Be Still My Soul. I love it so much. I had Be Still tattooed on my wrist a few years ago. Be still, my soul. Be still, my soul, when the entire world feels unpredictable or dangerous or foreign. Be still, my soul, when everything around you feels unsafe or unstable. Be still, my soul, when you don't know if life will ever return to what it used to be. Be still, my soul, and then go one step further. Psalm 46:10. Be still, my soul, I added the my soul, and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. I am God. I am not surprised or destabilized by the world's upheaval. I am the same today as I was on January 1st. The world has changed in untellable ways, but I have not. I am God. Be still and remember that. The next line is, the Lord is on thy side. And I've always read those words as stating that God is near, that he's at my side, that he's walking beside me. But this is on thy side. He is for me. He is intervening for me. He is interceding for me, for each one of us. Romans 8:31 says, if God is for us, who can be against us? I am not alone in this season of disquiet. God is at my side and he is on my side, and I do not battle or endure alone. The next line is, bear patiently the cross of grief and pain. Now, I've got to admit that patience is not a forte, so I'm not going to go really deep into that part of that line. I'm really good at patience when the crisis hits. When the crisis becomes chronic, my patience wanes. I'm working on it. But then there's John 16:33 that parallels the second part of that line. I have told you these things so that you might have peace. In this world, you will have trouble. In this world, you will have trouble. But take heart, I have overcome the world. Today's pain is no surprise to God. The world may and will throw wrenches in our plans and in our routines, into our sense of safety as well, but it will not derail God's outcomes. And his outcomes are so much bigger and better than the small ones I envision from a crisis point. His outcomes are about hope when things feel hopeless. They're about joy despite our circumstances. They're about community in spite of distance. His outcomes are victory over the darkness that threatens to undo us. Nothing can steal those from us. Next line, in every change, he faithful will remain. This might be my favorite line. Change invariably means loss, and there have been so many of those since all of this started. Loss of lives for sure, and we see that on the news every day. Also loss of normal, loss of identity, loss of predictability, loss of income. For those of us who have friends on the West Coast, loss of homes as well. In every one of those losses or changes, he faithful will remain. Let me read you Isaiah 43:2-3. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. And when you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep over you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. The flames will not set you ablaze. For I am the Lord your God, the Holy One of Israel, your Savior. In every change, in every loss we've experienced, in every unbearable challenge, he faithful will remain. The next line is from verse 2, and I'm just going to hit a couple of the lines in this verse. Be still, my soul, thy God doth undertake to guide the future as he has the past. And I've had to train myself to do this in this current season, to look into the past and see his guidance then and see his faithfulness. This season is too short to be able to do that yet, right? It hasn't been happening long enough for me to have COVID hindsight yet. So I need to go back and bring up all of those stones of remembrance that I've laid along the path of life to this point. Every time I've seen God be faithful and come through for me. It's something I call certainty through history, looking back beyond these current circumstances to every instance in which God has been faithful. I know that he has never failed me. I know that his ways looking back were better than anything I could have planned. I know that he is at work in my heart and body and decision-making today. When I rely on him, when I abide in him, I've seen it and I can trust it now, even though there is no current evidence. Psalm 139:5, you are all around me. You are in front of me and behind me, and I can feel your hand on my shoulder. I love that verse. He will guide the future as he has the past. Thy hope, thy confidence, let nothing shake. That's the next line. My confidence in God's goodness cannot be dependent on circumstances. It has got to rely on his promises. I've seen him fulfill them over and over, and he will do now too. That is what is unshakable in my hopes and in my confidence. Hebrews 13:5 says, for God has said, I will never leave you or abandon you. I will never leave you. You are not alone. I am at work here even if you can't see it. Let nothing shake your certainty about that because, and here are the next two lines, be still my soul, the waves and wind still know his voice who ruled them when he dwelt below. Mark 4:39 illustrates this. Jesus got up, he rebuked the wind and said to the waves, quiet, be still. Then the wind died down and it was completely calm. Be still, God says to me in the same way right now, today. Let your inner world be still, even as the outer world rages around you. Quiet the questions. Remember my promises. Believe in my active presence in and around you. Trust in me today because you've seen me be worthy of that trust yesterday. Be still, my soul. God knows this storm. He's known it was coming since the beginning of time. Be still, my soul, and trust that He is God. I'm going to play a shortened version of the song for you right now in video form, just so you can hear the lines with their music in that context and remember the promises from the Bible that each one of them represents. It has been good to be with you today, even though it's in this format. I cannot wait. I pray for the day when we can be together face to face again. Until then, I'm praying for you. God's got this. Be still, my soul. Bye.
Be still, my soul, the Lord is on thy side. Bear patiently thy cross of grief or pain. Leave to thy God to order and provide. In every change, He faithful will remain. Be still, my soul, thy best, thy heavenly friend. Through thorny ways leads to a joyful end. Be still, my soul, thy God doth undertake to guide the future as He has the past. Thy hope, thy confidence, let nothing shake. All now mysterious shall be bright at last. Be still, my soul, the waves and winds still know His voice who ruled them while He dwelt below. Be still, my soul, the hour is hastening on, when we shall be forever with the Lord. When disappointment, grief, and fear are gone, sorrow forgot, love's purest joys restored. Be still, my soul, when change and tears are past. All safe and blessed we shall meet at last. Be still, my soul, when change and tears are past.